Welcome to Eye on the Community. I'm your host, Sean Anthony, and joining me next is serving his second term as the 53rd mayor of the city of Columbus, Ohio, Mayor Andrew J. Ginther. Mayor Ginther, welcome back to Eye on the Community. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Good to see you.
My pleasure. Let's get things started with the state of the city. What is the state of the city right now, Mayor?
Well, I think, for everything we've been through and how far we've come, I feel like the state of our city is very strong, but it's only going to get stronger every day with everybody chipping in to do their part. You think about where we've been over the last couple of years with a global pandemic, probably a greatest reckoning for racial justice that we've seen probably in a generation, the great steps forward that we've taken as a community. I feel like we are in a great position to drive the recovery. Our Columbus comeback, though, we want to make sure is dynamic and inclusive.
Absolutely. Will you be discussing safety and police reform? And also, how is your relationship evolving with the new police chief as well?
We're really proud of the new chief. As you know, she is the first African-American woman to serve as our chief of police, and the first time we've ever selected a chief from outside the division, which we thought was really important for us to continue to change the culture within the division of police. And she's doing an incredible job. We just got a report out last week. She and Director Clark reported out to the Safety Advisory Commission, which was headed up by a former judge and city attorney Janet Jackson and other community members. About 91% of the recommendations that they made have either been implemented or in the process of being implemented. So she's making great progress, making great strides in building trust with the community and other changes that I think are going to make sure that we continue to change the way we police, going from a 20th century law enforcement agency to a 21st century community policing organization. Having our officers, know that they're guardians, not warriors, and that they're here to serve and protect everyone in the community. Those things are critically important. And so she's making great strides with increasing the amount of de-escalation training our officers are receiving as they go through the academy, but also our officers out on the street, community immersion activities, so that our officers continue to get to know the neighborhoods and our neighbors that they're serving, as they start to patrol and work in our neighborhoods. And we're really proud of the classes in both police and fire have been some of the most diverse in our division's history. I think it's really important to me that, police and fire reflect the beautiful diversity of this community. And currently we just don't do that. We need to do more, but we're making good progress there under her leadership.
That's awesome. Last year, Mayor Ginther was a record-breaking year for homicides, topping at 204. What are you doing about gun violence?
Yeah, I think it's critically important that we start talking about gun violence as a public health crisis. I believe that it is a public health crisis in this community and communities around the country. And that's why I declared it as such when we formed, our Columbus Coalition Against the Illegal Guns, involving state legislators, community activists, mothers of murdered children, everybody coming together. Because we need to deal with this as a public health crisis, not just because of the homicides. That doesn't reflect all the other shootings that didn't result in death in our community. Thus far, we're seeing some signs of progress. We've seen thus far in the first couple of months of 2022 about a 46% decline in homicides, but one homicide is too many in our city. We want to be the safest big city in America. And so continuing to do prevention and intervention work, as well as, very aggressive enforcement action being led by the Division of Police. But community safety, neighborhood safety isn't just the police's responsibility. It's all of our responsibility. And that's why we've engaged the faith community, our nonprofits, those that mentor young people, our schools, and everybody in this effort. We all have a role to play in reducing violence in our community and making our neighborhoods safer. We're seeing some signs of progress. We're launching the group violence intervention effort this month. This is under renowned criminologist David Kennedy that's taken this effort to other cities around the country and seen great success. In essence, the gist of that is you really focus on the very, very small number of folks, about 0.5% of our entire city's population that are engaged in the disproportionate amount of these shootings, bringing them in and saying, here are some resources, here are some opportunities for you to choose a different path. And we're going to support you and make sure these things are real and that they're going to make a difference in your life and the lives of your family. Or you can continue down this path. And let me introduce you to the city, county, and federal prosecutors who are all coming after you if you continue to engage in violence in this community. It's shown some great success, but we got to make sure we have those resources to make sure that it's a true, real alternative for these young people to walk away from a life of crime.
Yeah, Mayor Ginther, one of the things that I love about the city of Columbus is how family oriented the city is and how wonderful our neighborhoods are. Kind of expand and add on to some of what you already mentioned, but what are some of your plans for our neighborhoods?
Yeah, I always say my top three priorities is maybe mayor and neighborhoods, neighborhoods, and neighborhoods. Any great city is made up of great distinctive neighborhoods, and we're blessed in this community with great diverse neighborhoods throughout our great city. And so our focus, we've really tried to focus on in my administration, those neighborhoods and neighbors that have kind of been left out of Columbus's success story. By many accounts, we're one of the fastest growing economies in the Midwest, one of the great communities around this country, but we know that not everybody is shared in that success. And so I've been very purposeful and intentional about focusing on neighborhoods. And so, Linden and the One Linden plan has already helped us align the entire community, public, private, nonprofit, and invested over $100 million in realizing the One Linden plan. Envision Hilltop, the west side, another neighborhood that hasn't shared in all of the success of the cities. And we've got over $50 million collectively that's been invested there in infrastructure, early childhood centers, nonprofits, really trying to make a difference in the lives of the people of the Hilltop and offering them more opportunities to move up that ladder of opportunity into the middle class. So we really want to make sure that we're dedicating a significant amount of our efforts into neighborhoods and neighborhood revitalization. So we hope our goals build on One Linden, Envision Hilltop. We're not stopping that work. We're continuing to work in neighborhoods throughout the city. But we really believe that the Eastland area is the next place, in the Eastland neighborhood is the next place for us to focus. And so we're going to be working with the Department of Neighborhoods, Mayor's office, all the community leaders, the faith leaders. We got some great congregations from different walks of faith out in that Eastland area, even some suburban neighbors who are going to have a vested interest in the revitalization and reimagining of Eastland. And so we're excited. We're going to share that in the state of the city as well, kind of looking at One Linden, Envision Hilltop, and taking that to Eastland.
I'm excited about that, Mayor Ginther. That's the area that I lived in, going to high school in that area. And I recently read the article where some upwards to $100 million is going to be poured into that area near Eastland Mall and everything. So that sounds awesome. Another hot topic that has been circulating here locally is affordable housing. What's next for affordable housing for Columbus?
I really think affordable housing has been a challenge before the Intel announcement. Now with the Intel announcement, Hyperion, all these other great economic development opportunities we've announced, Rumpke's significant reinvestment into the American Addition neighborhood, it's really critical. I think this next decade to 15 years is really going to define what kind of community we have 75 or 100 years from now. And that's why I'm going to call on the collective community and the region, right? So affordable housing just isn't Columbus's responsibility. We need our brothers and sisters and neighbors in Upper Arlington and Worthington and Westerville and Dublin to join this as well. We're not bringing enough units to the market, period. Probably only about half of what we should be. We need more market rate housing. We need more workforce housing and affordable and subsidized housing. So I'm collectively saying, let's come together and invest $1 billion in housing over the next 15 years. The city's going to step up by placing a $150 million bond issue on the ballot this fall to support this work. I'm asking the state to join us, the county, our suburban neighbors, the private sector. I think we can do it if we make this our priority, because we really need to be bringing about 21,000 units every year to the market. So I'm calling on the region to collectively invest $1 billion and double the number of units we're bringing to market every year. And it's critically important that we do this as a region. We got Intel as a region, right? Although it is going to be in New Albany, they couldn't do Intel without Columbus providing water and sewer for the first two phases. So we stepped up and joined that effort because we think communities that are leading regionally are leading not just the country, but the world. And this is a place we need the rest of the region to step up and join us.
Mayor Ginther, before we conclude, I have one side question, and it's pertaining to tech companies. It seems like Columbus has been attractive to companies like Facebook, Amazon, et cetera. Are you looking to entice other tech companies to set up their headquarters or corporate offices here? And if so, do you see Columbus emerging into a tech city in the future?
Absolutely. We got a proud history of tech companies here, including a couple of startups who have grown into very significant players in their space. You know, Cover My Meds, Root, other companies that were startups here in Columbus, Bold Penguin, other companies that have been great successes. We think especially with this Intel announcement. So the announcement with Intel, what I'm told is every Intel employee, there'll be 10 other employees that work for suppliers and vendors and people who do business with Intel. So you think about what this does, it's going to really transform our region. And I think it is just the start, which is, again, why the sense of urgency around housing and affordability in neighborhoods is so important. We cannot wait on those things because I think you're going to see exponential economic growth, particularly in the tech area. And it's a good thing, not just for Columbus and Ohio, but America, to think right now that only 10% of the microchips that we need are produced in America. The rest of them are produced in China and other places that don't necessarily have America's national security interests, cybersecurity interests at heart. So this is a good thing for America. And obviously it's a great thing for Columbus and Central Ohio because it's going to put our neighbors to work. They're going to be able to provide for their families and provide brighter futures for the entire community. But I absolutely think Columbus is on the move and very well could become the Silicon Valley of the Midwest.
I like the sound of that, Mayor. As we conclude, COVID cases have been declining. What is the latest update on COVID in Columbus?
Well, we're grateful to the community. Bottom line, we're in a totally different place than we were 30 to 45 days ago when Omicron was raging, not just here, but around the country and the world. But folks masked up. They stepped up. They masked up. They helped us get it through a very difficult time. We kept I've always said, we all have the same goals: Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, black or white. Keep our economy open, keep our kids in school, don't overwhelm our hospitals so that, our family members who have other issues, heart attacks, car accidents, those types of things, they're able to get the care they need in our hospitals. And by masking up, we've been able to do that. And our numbers have come way down. Hospitalizations have come way down. We're giving our nurses and doctors at least a chance to catch their breath. I mean, those are folks who have never gotten a break during the last 2 years and have paid the price for that. I mean, exhaustions, retirement, separations. I mean, we're going to need to kind of reboot our health systems around the country because of what those folks have been through. But I'm rescinding my executive order today. I believe council is contemplating and will vote tonight on repealing their ordinance. There will no longer be a mask requirement inside the city of Columbus. And we wouldn't be in this place either without the leadership of Dr. Mashika Roberts. She has been an incredible public health advocate, a straight shooter. She's always given me the truth, whether or not I wanted to hear it. She's always given me the truth and helped me make the best decisions I could on behalf of the community. And so I'm grateful for her leadership and her team over at Columbus Public Health, who have worked so hard over the last couple of years. I think one of the things we've learned out of all this is how important public health is and how much we need to invest in it, moving forward, even as we come out of this pandemic.
Mayor Ginther, it's a pleasure. Thank you for all that you do. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule today to talk to us here on Eye on the Community.
It's been great. I appreciate you taking the time.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, the 53rd Mayor of the city of Columbus, Ohio, Mayor Andrew Ginther. You guys take care. Mayor, have a great week, sir.
You too. Be well.
Bye now.